Plexcelsior, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Multiplex's Arrowverse discussion show, but also other things outside of the Arrowverse. Crisis on Earthplex. I am one of your hosts for the evening, the Cosmic Night Fury, the reigning Full Metal Random NXT Trivia Champion, Nico Suave Regoli, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my House Night Fury brother, the reigning Arrowverse Trivia Champion, Zaddeus Z-Man Smith. How are you today, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. How about yourself, bro?
I'm doing well as well, but it's been a very interesting day in regards to the internet. Facebook and Instagram both going haywire. So much so it was almost a challenge for us to actually do this show because we couldn't get the proper links sent to through the proper channels because of Messenger being down and whatnot.
I know, right? Yeah.
But we're here, and that's what matters, and we have some interesting stuff to talk about. All four shows this week. By the way, remind me, when is Legends scheduled to make its return?
Legends is actually making its return April the 1st, and so we're only about 3 weeks away, and we'll already be down the show by then, so it will fit right into our lineup too, because one show's going season finale next week.
And if I'm correct, the title of that Legends episode is Lucha Libre related. So
I think I saw something like that. I'm not quite sure about the title exactly, but I do believe it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, you know us, we're big wrestling fans. So if it is like a Lucha Libre inspired episode, I will be so happy the entire way through.
That'd be so dope. It will be. I actually miss some Legends right now. Things have gotten a little bit too serious with the Arrowverse. I need more Bebo in my life right now.
Yes, I'm actually with you on that. Hashtag bring Bebo back.
Amen.
And not the Bebo that appeared in Star Wars Resistance that was a gigantic sea monster.
No, we need the Cody fluffy Bebo. That's the one we want back.
Yes, indeed we do. But with that said, let's get to our breakdowns of what happened this week in the Arrowverse. And first, we go to Supergirl. Now, do you remember the title at all, or should I look that up?
Yeah, this week's title was called Stand and Deliver, and I believe it was mainly called that just because it was kind of a forceful episode. Like, listen, you need to stand for what you believe in and do either fight for it or hold the line against it. That's why I believe the title kind of referred, because I believe Stand and Deliver is also the title of a movie, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody check that for me.
If it is the title of a movie, I'm assuming Jake Marangoni and Jeremy Adams have probably seen it.
I was just thinking about Jeremy too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeremy knows.
But with that said, basically bullet points of what happened in this episode. Brainy, still without his ring. Turns out he's American alien. He is this random alien using the internet, trying to bring about peace. He's having lost his ring, he now feels more human than ever, and he feels like he needs to bring a call to action. And we see in this episode how powerful just nonviolent protest is. There's a reason why Dr. King was such a powerful influence on the world and on our culture and on our country. We get to see an example of that here in this episode. And I love that Supergirl, by putting away her family crest for just a moment and just showing herself off as, I am a citizen of Earth. I am Kara Zor-El, citizen of Earth. That made a statement. Because, we hear it from that one guy who was yelling at all the aliens as they were marching. He was like, you're different from them. You're a superhero. And then, but really, she's an alien. She's a citizen of Earth. She just happens to wear a really cool costume that the other aliens do not. So I feel like I'm rambling. Wow.
No, you're making a good point. You're making a very good point. I could piggyback off that too. Because go ahead.
Save me a little bit because for some reason I'm stumbling.
No, you make a very good point because it was a nice little it was kind of a nice little mirror to society because even with you don't have to be alien in our current world, an alien or a superhero in our current world for people to look at you one way. You could be like for myself, like oh you're a black man, but you're not like those black people over there. And that's pretty much what this guy was looked at Supergirl as. Like, oh, I know you're an alien, but you're Supergirl. You're a hero. You're not one of those people that's trying to mob us and like trying to take away our rights. We're not a roach, pretty much. So you're a hero. You embrace our values, which it's a 100% a double standard, and I mean it's racism in an alien type of way too. So it's a ridiculous standard to live by, and it was nice to see by the end of this episode, and him and a lot of other of the, I guess they're pro-human activists are the ones who were there for Lockwood's rally. It was nice to see alien and humans trying to get along a little bit better at the end of this episode. Mainly, I kind of say due to Supergirl, of course, but also kind of give a small credit to Manchester. This is Midge. This is Midge.
Yeah, that's the weird thing because, well, for one, Ben Lockwood officially revealed himself to be the monster that he is, so much so that his own bodyguard protection, in this case Alex, was like, "Nope, I'm done dealing with you. I'm strong arming you. Get off the stage right now before you start a riot," which he did start a riot technically.
Yes, he did.
Well, more so Manchester, but Ben Lockwood helped, and when Manchester brought about that infighting between the two and people started to get hurt from all directions by the elite, that essentially brought people together, people and aliens together, because they realized, what, we all hurt the same way. We all bleed the same way. We all were children at one point. We're more alike than we may have admitted earlier on in the episode. And that commonality, we're very lucky that James Olsen was able to capture that on camera.
Very true.
And, the power of photography, like the power of a simple image, can change the entire conversation. And that's essentially what happened in this case, in this episode at the end, because what did it do? The peace was starting to finally come about. And then at the end, James gets shot, which shows that someone wants to keep the fighting going. You don't shoot someone who's trying to bring about peace unless you want the fighting to continue, because you have something to benefit from it. So was it one of the Children of Liberty, or was it next week's special character that's finally being introduced? Although I think he might just being released from jail when that episode starts. But could it be Lex Luthor?
Oh, buddy. We've already known from past seasons, I believe the first season of Supergirl, of how Lex knows that James is kind of Superman's go-to guy, or Superman, I don't want to call him a sidekick, but sidekick, quote unquote. So I feel personally, for chat's on, I believe Lex probably did have something to do with James being shot, because yes, even though Lex is probably still in jail, it's easy to believe that Lex can still have somebody shot or killed from inside the prison. I mean, that's the perfect alibi for him. But Lex, I cannot wait till he come on board next week, because Jon Cryer, he's convinced me. I'm looking forward to that.
I told you guys from the start, there are a lot of comedy actors out there who have a very strong dramatic side to them. And it's just a matter of getting the right opportunities to show it. When they said Jon Cryer, I immediately thought this is going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those castings that you might think isn't going to work, and then as soon as you see something, you realize how good it actually is. I called it, and I'm very happy I called it. But we still have an entire episode to see, so who knows? I could be wrong, and we just saw the good parts of what he did. But I believe that his entire performance is going to be good. That said, we've kind of ignored the side plot of the story. of this particular episode of Supergirl, which is that the Elite is just down to one member.
Yeah,
like the one invisible alien. She's been taken down. I think it was a she. Menagerie. She's been arrested now. She got a little too greedy and she got taken away. And Hat. He no longer has his hat, so he's screwed too. I wonder what Brainy is going to do with that hat. That's an interesting conversation for the coming weeks. But yeah, all that's left is Manchester. He still has the Legion of Superheroes ring, and Jean is really determined to live up to his Manhunter title and hunt him down. Like the vow of nonviolence is out the window now.
Yeah,
and I think we said that last week, but it's really out the window now. It's like John picked it up and threw it back out the window again, and now he's just ready to take down Manchester, because we saw Manchester disguised another person as himself and let Jean just beat the living holy hell out of that person. And so, like, tricking Jean in that way, making him hurt innocent people, although it was a child of liberty, so maybe not as innocent as we think, but still, Jean is out for revenge now.
Mm-hmm. And it's always, I'm not gonna say baffled, but it's always been interesting to me how their connection is, John and Manchester's connection. It kind of makes me wonder, what is Manchester's true plot? I mean, because I feel like he wants to kill Ben Lockwood, but I feel like he's had plenty of opportunities to do it, and I believe he's kind of more on the road of toying with John or trying to push John to the edge than he is more along killing Lockwood, because, like you said, he had somebody disguised and like a Child of Liberty disguised as him, and it was very cool because I guess he had a voice box on the Child of Liberty. That sounds weird. The Child of Liberty, and it appeared as if he was talking, but everything he was doing, he was just up in the rafters looking as John was pounding at this guy, and as he was about to go full Manhunter. Part of me wonders if this is kind of if he's trying to turn John into a villain of sorts instead of like full on trying to kill Lockwood. If he's more focused on John being a villain or become a vigilante than he is on killing Lockwood, maybe.
Well, Jean said something interesting to Manchester right before they got into that fight that wasn't actually a fight between them, but a fight between Jean and someone who was being cloaked. Jean said he thinks that Manchester is glad that his fiance died, because it meant that because Manchester's fiance kept him in check. He had a lot of anger problems before he met Fiona, was her name. And when she died, all that rage came back to the surface. And now he's just acting on rage like he has no leash anymore. And I think he sees someone in Jean who had a similar experience to him of losing his loved ones in the worst possible way. And he sees a potential ally. So now we're essentially getting like a Batman Joker story with these two characters, in that Manchester is the Joker, Jean is Batman, and Manchester is trying to bring Jean to his perspective, his behavior, because I think that's obviously getting Lockwood is part of the plan, but the other plan, I think, is to make Jean fall to his own ways. And it's just a matter of like, how is that plan going to be finished?
You know what? I just thought about when you were saying that. It's like I thought about the Dark Knight and how the Joker was taunting Batman. We took Gotham's Golden Knight and gave him and made him one of us. And all he needed was just one little push. It's like he's trying to turn John into his own very own Harvey Dent, pretty much, our own Two-Face in a way. And I completely agree. I believe he's looking for a ally, a brother in arms or something, even though I personally don't believe John's going to go all the way dark, but it's interesting. I enjoyed the Supergirl writers having Manchester be more of a antagonist for John rather than Supergirl. Like it's showing the importance of John Jones on the show to me.
It is. And one last thing I'll touch on before I move on to Arrow, and that's we've said that Supergirl and I think also Black Lightning to an extent have been the most realistic shows that the Arrowverse has produced as of late, because obviously one show in Supergirl is dealing with the current national politics and the strife that has come with them of having sort of an authoritarian style presence running the White House, of using us versus them tactics to sort of maintain power. Whereas Black Lightning is more of like it's focusing on it's focusing more on like a condensed real life story of how certain groups of people are treated not as well as other groups, especially in the eyes of the law, and how you deal with that, living in that type of environment while also having superpowers.
Very true. R.I.P. Cape Guy. I'll just say that for now.
Yeah, we'll talk about Cape Guy in a little bit. But with that said, Lex Luthor's coming next week. From the look of it, he's going to turn the sun red. How that's going to have some implications for sure. But we'll get there when we get there next week. So now let's move on to Arrow, which I believe the episode was called Training Day? Or
Yes, it was Training Day with Stephen Amell featuring Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke. Great. No, it was a pretty good episode.
Okay, so there's something I really want to touch on here, and I'm thankful that I'm not alone in this thinking, but also Jason Inman and Ashley Robinson noticed it too. Why the hell were they doing their training in the middle of the police academy? Like, don't they have a firing range or anywhere? Like, they did it right in the office.
Mm-hmm. It's like literally where somebody was. If we had citizens come from outside that needed to report a crime, no, you can't. I mean, training is happening right there. You would think Star City would have like you said, a depot or something to train all their officers at, or train the new guys at. But no, that was very ridiculous. Kind of a major plot hole.
And also, because of his former military training, why does John have to be there?
I have just there was a lot of questions that didn't make sense about that, and like that part. Then plus, not only military training, but he was also the director of Argus. But maybe is just maybe not director of Argus, but he was also an employee of Argus, a soldier of Argus. So maybe it's just the SCPD standards or something. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that the mayor required, because she was kind of a hard ass for people this episode, but she saw the light in the end.
Yeah. So I guess there were 3 plot points here. One is Oliver, he wants to make the partnership between vigilantes and the SCPD work because he wants Star City to be a safer place for his soon-to-be-born child. That's plot 1. And his struggle to really embrace these new changes, but also the struggle of the SCPD to embrace the vigilante style of they're trying to find common ground, and it's not working out, at least not at the start. Eventually they get there. Eventually they find that commonality. Second plot is Dinah dealing with the fact that, as predicted with those flash forwards,
yep,
can't cry anymore. She can't do the canary cry anymore because her throat's been scratched, and so she's struggling with, like, who am I now? Am I still the Black Canary? Do I have the right to call myself that now that I can't actually do the canary cry? And she even says at one point, being a cop is all I have left. So she's caught in the middle. She doesn't know where she stands anymore. And eventually she finds out at the end, okay, I can still be both. I can still be both even without my cry. Plot three is Black Star and William in the future trying to get that cassette player, and really all that trouble for a cassette player.
Right, $500 and more.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous that you got money. Do you really need to send a pickpocket to steal it back just to make them pay more for it? Nobody else was buying it.
Yeah, it's just, I guess that's just the law of the streets in Star City 2040. William just looked like a jackass at that point. Like, bruh, when a little girl bumps into you after you just paid $500 for a cassette tape. No, I'm sorry, a tape recorder. Just a little tape recorder that was about yay big, and he gets it jacked off of him like that. I mean, you could tell he was not raised in Star City. And or he wasn't raised almost in like reality. Like, he should have been smarter than that.
Like, it makes me wonder, am I really the only person who knows keep your valuables in the inside pockets of your jacket? Because of people like that, all it takes is one little bump, and all of a sudden, oh no, I don't have money anymore. Where'd my thing go? So yeah, but it results in brother sister getting along better in the end, and they realize, okay, our mom wants to send us on a ghost chase over the wall to the Glades now, where things are actually better in the future than they are in the past.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know where that's going to go. But, and one more thing. So Laurel, specifically Black Siren, she gets word that Ricardo Diaz was killed. So it's confirmed now. He's dead. He's dead. And Will Turner, Bronze Tiger, he saw who did it.
Turner. Will Turner's from Pirates of the Caribbean. You're welcome, Kaleb.
God, why do I keep doing that?
You're welcome, Koho. He's having fun now.
Why do I keep getting the name wrong? Good Lord. Anyway, Bronze Tiger, he saw who did it. And so Laurel goes down to Slapside. They work out a deal. Bring me my son. Let me see him in person, not through a panel of glass, and I'll give you the information you need.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that the child, his son, is Connor Hawke in the future.
Audible gasps everywhere. Yeah, this was a big moment in this episode. It's like, what?
And going back to what was revealed several episodes ago of like, oh, that's John Diggle's adopted son.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck happened to Bronze Tiger that caused that to happen? That Diggle had to adopt little Connor.
Yeah.
So that's another question we now have unanswered. But we found out it was in fact Emiko who killed Ricardo Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently both Emiko and Laurel know a lot about each other. Laurel knows that Emiko is Robert Queen's daughter,
mm-hmm.
Oliver's sister, and a murderer also. And Emiko knows that Laurel is from Earth 2. She's Black Siren. And I'm assuming Dante told her that information. So, like, where is this going to go? Is something going to be worked out between the two of them? Because they now hold, like, valuable cards that they can play on each other. And I don't know. There's just a whole lot going on here. And I'm just wondering, when is it all going to, like, see a little bit of a resolution?
Yeah, I agree with you right there, because it seems like there's a couple of secrets going around. This is one major secret that can rock the boat for everybody involved. Like that Emiko. I mean, Oliver's done lay his guard down a lot, trying to get close to his sister now, and he's probably in full on family mode, trying to make sure things are safe for his future daughter. Well, he doesn't know he's having a daughter, but he's trying to make sure that the future is safe for his kids, and trying to make sure that the SEPD and the vigilante task force works well in hand with each other. And yet he doesn't realize yet, at least I don't think he realizes, that he has a snake within. And how is he going to deal with that? it's gonna tear him apart, but it's gonna tear him apart if he doesn't know it already. I always want to say if he doesn't know already because sometimes our heroes can surprise you unless your name is Barry. But and they just might already know that people are duplicitous in their lives. So it's gonna be a big bomb that's waiting to drop, and I can't wait till it does. I think we're on episode 14 or 15 now, so I'm
I think it
pretty
was
sure
16 actually. Might be
16
16.
might be, and so we probably got at least 5 to 6 more episodes to probably find till we see him find out that Emiko is really not on his side. At least not yet.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add just because like I didn't see the preview for next week, so I don't really know what's been teased in that regard.
Yeah, it's really. I feel like they're taking a little. I feel like next week's episode is going to be more of kind of an origin story for Black Star a little bit, just because the preview was just kind of a 30-second clip about with Felicity and Oliver. Felicity's having her baby in like a cabin in the woods, and you hear Kat McNamara, who's the actress for Black Star for Mia, and I feel it sounded much like it's just gonna be like maybe her growing up, and she says something like, "Well, you always told me we had to be careful because my dad is the Green Arrow." First of all, and the only main thing I took from that is sounds like she's talking to her mom about that. She's because this is not the grown up Black Star. This sounds like a child saying, "You always tell me that we had to be careful because my dad is the Green Arrow." This is just me. It kind of sounds like since she's talking to her mom about it, that dad is the Green Arrow, or she might have said was, so she might let that slip. It kind of just leads me to believe the stuff that I'm pretty sure all of us Arrowverse fans believe, that Oliver is not going to be around in her life, like at all. I mean, in the clip we saw Oliver like kissing his baby or kissing his baby girl, but as far as the rest of her life, don't count on it.
So we may be getting a flashback to the flash forwards.
Right? So weird.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Oh, and by the way, before we move on to Black Lightning, so I think I was just perusing Twitter just because I felt like it, and I saw a potential rumor that when Arrow goes off the air for season 8, there might be a Black Star spinoff in development.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know if that's I don't think that's confirmed. Again, it's probably just a rumor for now, and how much weight that rumor actually holds, we'll find out when we find out. But if that does happen, hopefully they get these timelines and these stories straightened out, and they can find a way to make things interesting.
I agree with that, and I hope they just keep continuity. Well, yes, they mess up continuity already a lot, but hopefully they just, like you said, make the timeline stick and make things make sense. That's my main thing. Make things make sense in the future. Even though, for all we know, shit's about to go wild in October. So our current timeline may not, the way Earth is now may not be the Earth is next year at this time. So
who knows? Who knows? But now we move on to the penultimate episode of Black Lightning Season 2. What is the name of the long title that this episode has with the book of whatever and what chapter? Because they love to make it complicated for us to recite the whole title.
Oh, yes, it was. This episode was called The Book of Apocalypse, Chapter 1, The Alpha. Just like that.
Cool. So, a lot of stuff happened here. Lala went on a rampage against Tobias. We got the entire thing of the Masters of Disaster. Anissa figured out that Grace was the Asian man who attacked her in the apartment complex. Jen is that much closer to getting her suit finished. We actually see her in the suit, and she goes after Tobias, and then she burns out, and we get it to be continued as she's like convulsing on the ground from overcharging. Like, that's the warning. She's a nuclear bomb. and she just overcharged herself to the point that she's going to explode. So hopefully they can solve that for next week. But Agent, what's his name?
Agent Odell. That man.
Agent Odell, I think he's starting to come to Lynn's side a little bit, or maybe he's just playing that he's coming more to her side of things, her point of view, so he can play her like a fiddle. Like he kind of implied, and we know he knows, but he kind of implied to Lynn, "Hey, I know your family and what they can do, so just throwing that out there. Do with that what you will." Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that.
It's very interesting about Agent Odell. Like, you can tell that he is either, like you say, he's either playing Lynn or he's really looking out for Lynn and her family. And I told you what my theory is on Agent Odell last week, and it just seems like he's being very protective of her in my case. And if that's not the case, then good job to Bill Duke, because he's not only playing Lynn, he's playing me too. So let me get a quarter for myself. But I enjoy his presence on this show, and I enjoy everything that he's basically been doing on the show, just kind of as a side character. He's forceful with her one week, and then kind of bends to her will this week. Is an asshole to her last week, but it's like, okay, I understand. We'll do it your way. Smile, and just walks off. And he doesn't fire this episode. So his little character arc for just like a side character is pretty good. It's pretty interesting to me. I'm waiting for a reveal to drop eventually in regards to his character.
And we might get that reveal, whatever that reveal may be, next week, because season 2 is coming to a close next week. I just want to throw this out there because it was one of my favorite parts of the episode. The exchange between Dr. Jace and Tobias Whale, where they're like, they're kind of having that understanding with one another of, hey, I'm smarter than everyone I know. I'm always the annoying intellectual of the conversation. And she's pointing out, hey, I think your bodyguard is a little too clingy. And Tobias is like, I like her clinginess. How dare you? Just that little interaction there was kind of fun for me, because it shows like these are two very aggressive people who will do anything to get what they want, and they realize they're smart enough to realize that they're both using each other for personal gain, and it's just a matter of like whose dime is going to drop first, like who will run out of use for the other. I'm pretty sure Tobias is set to live for another season. So the question is, how long before Jace ruins her welcome?
I sure hope Tobias is due for another season, because this episode proved just on how it was a good episode. I'll call it a good episode, but it showed how much Marvin Crondon Williams, I'll call him Crondon for now, but just how much of a great actor and how much he brings to the show for me, because we didn't have him in our episode last week. He kind of felt it, and this week he was back to being his vicious self. He's a vicious but smart villain. I like that in my villains. I like smart villains and who just don't do evil shit to be evil. They do it for a purpose. And I know that sounds cool. That sounds very weird coming from me right now, but be smart about your villain. I like a smart villain, pretty much.
I agree 100%. Like, he is a presence. And the way he portrays Tobias Whale is a presence. And when that presence is not there, it's very noticeable. So he adds something to this show, and that's something that he adds is very significant. One last thing I'll bring up, because we kind of already mentioned what's going on with the daughters and their own struggles. So Lala can't die now.
Yeah, right.
It's weird that the guy can make multiple Lalas, but this particular Lala can't die. So is there really a point to be making more Lalas other than he just feels like making more Lalas because he's insane?
Yeah. That too, yeah. Or he likes to hear you say la la, like they just like la 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 la, like I I that plot point is just kind of, I don't want to make a pun and say killing me, but it's kind of pissing me off a little bit. Just the fact that I told you how much I did not like his arc last week, like with the whole who killed Earl? You killed Earl. I'm gonna shoot you because you killed Earl. Oh, I killed Earl. Jesus Christ. But
well, here's the thing. I like what they did with him this week because
it was better, yeah.
We now have someone who will actually go after Tobias and kill them without any feelings of remorse, and Tobias can't really stop him because like Jefferson can be stopped, Jen and Anissa can be stopped, but Lala, we now know he can't really be stopped. Like it's going to take. You're going to have to put him through a wood chipper to get him to stop, and even then,
might grow another one.
Even then, he might grow back again. So now we have this foil for Tobias that he can't as easily beat as he could do with let's say with the Pierce family or with Ty, like or Henderson, or like Lala could essentially become the big bad to the big bad.
It's possible. It's possible. But I have a question for you about how do you feel about the MODs this week? Because we got introduced to three Tobias woke up three of his other master disasters. I think that's what they're called, right? Somebody Cold Snap, Heat Stroke, and New Wave. These names, but and I'm pretty sure you can tell what their powers were. People like somebody has cryokinesis, somebody is a pyro, and New Wave is basically like Hydro Man from Spider-Man. But what do you think about
them? They weren't exactly that memorable for me.
I agree, and I feel like that's the problem. Like we had a little plot point about Tobias trying to take these MODs that have been stored up for 30 years, and he wants to sell them to the highest bidder, and yet the only mod that does something this episode was the heat stroke.
Horrible, and he nearly has a heat stroke when he.
It just wasn't a good showing. If I was a bidder on the black market, he didn't really do anything to impress me. Yes, he killed a congressman in this episode, but like you're not showing me much Tobias, not at all. Now, I wouldn't want to say, I would not say it to Tobias if I was in the Black Lightning world. I was not my head said, good show. But other than that, the Masters of Disasters are kind of been just minuscule. They've just been a disappointment a little bit.
And that could be expected when you're introduced with literally one episode left in the season. Maybe they're saving the good parts for them for next year.
That's true.
But yeah, for now it's kind of like okay, they're there. I'm not really interested. I want to see what they do to save Jen before she literally explodes.
Yeah, and I won't talk about Jen. We'll just skip my feelings on Jen right now. I would just say that I hope they write her a better character arc next season. Now leave it at that.
Yeah, because I know you really want to rage on something else.
Yo, just wait.
Okay, so let's move on to The Flash. What was the episode title?
It was called "Failure is an Orphan." Horrible. I mean, wow, kind of a on the nose name, but
yeah, it's a weird title. It's a weird title, but yeah. So basically, they're gearing up. The gang is gearing up to give the cure to Cicada, and they're just trying to figure out what the right sales pitch will be. Nora, she's trying to make sure that this transaction happens before this apparent new timeline, which she definitely created, before that new timeline breaks through and has repercussions on the one that Nora is trying to save. And so And side plot, Cecile and
Papa Joe.
Cecile and Papa Joe, they're doing their first sting together with Cecile's new telepathy. And, Joe now feels out of place. Like he's like, what's my purpose now? If she can read their minds, what am I doing here? And eventually, so they get into a bit of a fight. They're struggling to find their groove. And eventually they do find their groove. They use Orland and Grace's doctor against them to figure out where Orland is keeping all his stuff, where he's been hiding out. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Another piece of the puzzle is Nora and Iris. Like, they realize there's only so much time left that they can spend together at this age before Nora has to go back to her time and Iris and Barry have to consummate so Nora can actually be born. And so getting to the main plot now, what's Barry's sales pitch? Now, he first tries to make it personal for Cicada in that, what is your legacy going to be? Do you want to, what do you want to be in Grace's eyes? Do you want to be the guy who killed Metas just because you felt like it? And then Ozzy from the American Pie movies is just like, I don't care about my legacy. I'm speaking in a Christian Bale voice.
It was an epic fail. Like, horrible sales pitch, Barry. Horrible job.
Yeah. So, and then Joe, he comes to Barry, asks him, how'd the first attempt go? Barry says, not great. And so Joe's like, okay, well, if the Flash couldn't reach him, what about Barry Allen? And then you and I both instantly knew where this was going.
Damn it, Joe. Yes. Oh my God. Continue. Actually, you know what? Let me
go for it. Go for it.
Right there.
Because I want to watch this. I want to watch this rant.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe said to Barry, like, hey, if you can't reach him as the Flash, why don't you try to reach him as Barry Allen? Personally, I think Joe meant that in a figurative manner, but no. Not to Barry. Not to Barry's happy-go-lucky self. Now, let's take a pause. After this, the Flash goes after Orland again, after Cicada again, after he gets the location from the doctor. He kind of corners him and offers to give him the cure again. And he's trying to do his emotional sales pitch as kind of a father figure, as like, I understand what you're going through. Now let's put a pin in him right here. On our other three shows, Supergirl, Arrow, and
Black Lightning.
Black Lightning, you've heard me rant about how these characters, how their disguises are so whack. I don't understand how nobody knows who they are. It's like literally, my name is Cara Danvers. No, I'm Supergirl. That's Supergirl's sales pitch. Oliver, he really doesn't carry a secret anymore. Jefferson Pierce, Jesus Christ. No, I'm Black Lightning. I'm Principal Pierce. All right, ex-Principal Pierce. Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning. I don't understand how the bad guys don't get it, but listen. If somebody was to figure their secret identities out, it would make sense. Now, Barry Allen is the only one of these superheroes that has a relatively good disguise. He has a mask that comes down to over his head to right about here, and so nobody will figure out who his secret identity is, or figure out who to hurt, unless you're like Zoom, Savitar, or what's the guy, the Thinker. But those are people who already knew who he was in the first place. Not Cicada. Cicada had no idea who Barry was. He had no idea who the Flash was. How is he going to figure it out? He will never figure it out unless Barry Allen takes off his fucking mask and says, I'm a father too, so I understand everything that you're going through. Takes off his mask. Yes. So will you let us give you the cure? Just like that, people. It makes no sense to me. Barry is the worst superhero when it comes to secret identities ever. And this is even after Oliver has told everybody his secret identity. Again, I don't understand how people didn't know Oliver was the Green Arrow anyway. Actually, people knew that in season 1. He just lied to protect himself. But Barry is literally giving his enemies his secret identity, which angers me to no point is so stupid to me. And like, I understand that you had to appeal to Cicada's fatherly side, but all he had to do was mention how the other species that's been with him, that's his daughter. I understand how that you want to protect Grace, that you want to do what's best for her, just as I want to do what's best for my daughter and protect my daughter. You know, that little rugrat that's running around me, that's my little bundle of joy. Yes, she's from the future. Don't worry about that. But that's my beautiful daughter. And yeah, boom. That's all he had to do. He mind you, in that little sentence I just gave you, I didn't tell you who SS was. I didn't tell you who SS's mama was. I just told you that she was my daughter, aka the Flash, and that's SS. The Flash's daughter is SS. The Flash's daughter is SS. Not the Flash, not Barry Allen's daughter is SS. It doesn't make sense. Continue.
Oh, good God. Oh, good God. Oh, oh wow.
I get sick. I get sick of how he's doing that. You know, on a karma level, it does work. He does appeal to Cicada's fatherly side. He does, and that does allow them to bring. He does allow himself to come back to Star Labs, so he can get the cure. Even though he tells everybody, if this doesn't work, or if you're lying to me, I am going to kill all of you. No, sorry, just stop it, Oz, stop it. But yes, they do inject they start injecting Cicada with the cure, and everything seems to be working. And this is where something major happens. And just to rewind a little bit, put another pin in that. Back in 2049, when Nora had went to go visit, I'm sorry, not Nora. It says, but you know, we don't give a fuck about cigarette identities on the show. Nora, it says Nora West Allen. Who cares? But when she went back into 2049, when she was talking to Future Dawn said that something big was coming, or someone big was coming to screw up the current timeline that they're in. And we flash. Now let's go back to our regular time, and this is when it happens. Just when it seems like Team Flash is due for a win, and Cicada is injected with the cure, everything's about to be all right in the world. Nope. A new Cicada jumps into the Cortex, or jumps into the Star Lab, and this person has powers that were kind of interesting to me. I'm not sure how you would describe it. Like she can blast beams from her hand, but they don't really kill people. They like trap people, because it looked like she had Barry tied up in her energy beams, maybe pulsating beams.
I don't know how to describe what I saw.
It was very weird, but the main thing is she comes in to free Cicada, and she literally wipes out pretty much all of Team Flash, takes them all out with her powers, and of course you've heard me say she already, so it's not going to be a bit secret if you guessed it. And this person, when they're coming for Cicada, but the Dr. Ambrose, the doctor who's Grace's and Cicada's doctor, is trying to escape with them, but she doesn't let that happen. And so she kills the doctor and takes Cicada away. Lo and behold, I think we guessed this at a couple episodes ago.
In the dream one. In the Inception one where
in the CW in the Inception episode of The Flash. This is a future version of Cicada, which is aka a future version of Grace, who is played by the magnificent Sarah Carter, who is back on DC TV after years from Smallville. So it's good to see her back on TV. But
which character did she play?
Alicia. She played my boo Alicia, and I'm not sure if have you met Alicia on Smallville yet?
What season was she in?
Season 3 and 4.
I'm at season 4 still, but it's been a while since I got back to my rewatch. But I feel like I should have seen. Yeah,
she was the girl with teleportation powers that when Clark was stuck in the elevator at LuthorCorp.
Oh, yeah, the crazy one. Yeah, okay.
The crazy one.
I remember her now.
But yeah, it was good to see her back on TV. So I mean, I know she's been on some other stuff, I think, since then, but this is the first time she's been back in the DC TV universe, and that pretty much sums up everything that happened in this episode. That was pretty much how the episode ended on the regards. Even though there was one other little plot point about Sherlock. He's getting closer and closer to figuring out more of Nora's secret. I mean, he literally even says the timeline is malleable in the sense to Nora, but I guess she didn't hear it.
No, I think she did, and she was like just so focused on the mission that she brushed it off. But I did notice something. I feel like Sherlock's eyes perked up when Cecile sat down next to Nora because he's like, the lie detector sitting next to the liar. This is the perfect opportunity for me to ask them something.
I thought the same thing. I literally wrote, on my notes that Sherlock is super suspicious of Nora. He's about to get onto her, and now he has a human lie detector. But then that was the exact moment where Super Grace or Cicada Grace jumped into the building and kind of just ruined it at that point. But it looks like we don't have too much longer to go with the Nora lie because
if previews are to be believed for next week's episode, looks like she's finally gonna be backed into a corner where she has to reveal the truth and be like, "Hey, I'm working with the guy who murdered Grandma. Sorry about that."
Poor Barry. That does make me feel. I'm not sure. I don't want to call Barry gullible, but it's just I feel bad for him. Like he just gets played a lot by people in this show.
Well, when you're a superhero who literally takes their mask off every single week, and here's the thing, it's weird that like it annoys me with Barry, but I like it. I liked it when Tony Stark was like, "I'm at a press conference, might as well say it. I'm Iron Man," because then at least he can prepare for every consequence. Then moving forward, like
exactly, it's Tony Stark too. Like it suited his personality to do that, and then he had enough resources to handle it. Now, when he did in Iron Man 3 by saying, "I live at 22 Wallaby Way in Sydney, Australia. Come meet me, Mandarin. I'm not afraid of you." That pissed me off. That was stupid. But yeah, seeing at the press conference, no big deal. And yes, people I know, 22 Wallaby Way, I think it's from Finding Nemo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he lived in Malibu.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw a little Easter egg out there for people. I even think I got the address wrong, but somebody's gonna scream in the comments, right?
Hopefully. But with that said, that's everything that happened this week in the Arrowverse. So with like 5 minutes to go before we hit the hour mark, let's just touch on some stuff that happened in the MCU. And we'll do it nicely in a bit of a rapid fire. First, and I don't have the numbers directly in front of me, but Captain Marvel is doing extremely well at the box office and is close to actually joining the $1 billion club of movies.
Yes, it is. And you know what? This is a good thing. This is why we're partners, because it had like $152 million budget around, but it made that up in this 3-day weekend. If I'm not mistaken, I saw like on Box Office Mojo that at the 5-day mark, which was yesterday, I believe, it was about $179 million, which kind of puts it above Captain America: The First Avengers opening, and it's actually about maybe about $1 million or $2 more. It's going to also be higher than Ant-Man and also Thor's opening also. So Captain Marvel is having a marvelous time at the box office. Thank you. Real shot.
I like what you did there. And the best part is this is a gigantic slap in the face to the trolls who were hoping that this film wouldn't succeed because they got a little triggered over some stuff Brie Larson said that was taken out of context. And it also makes me feel good because I have not gotten a chance to see this movie yet. And so I was worried, like, me not getting to see this movie yet was going to affect it in the box office somehow. I'm not saying, like, I'm that important, but I am saying, like, the little details matter. And, like, if someone like me who's a comic book fan, or someone like you who's a comic book fan, if we don't get to see it as quickly as we like, then we're playing a part in whether or not that movie succeeds or does not succeed. And that's so true. For it to still be succeeding the way it is, without me having spent some money on it to show I want to support this movie, it makes me feel good. And I'll feel even better because I'll be bringing it up that much more when I do finally get a chance to see it, and I do get to show my support for it through my wallet.
I think you'll enjoy it. I think you will.
Yeah, because like I from what I haven't been spoiled, but I do know that there are like a few details, like someone of comic book fame of the 80s and 90s was canonized into the MCU. Yeah, so I'm not going to say who because like I don't want to spoil it for anyone else, and because I don't want them to be spoiled the same way I was. Although I won't say I was spoiled, I was just like, oh, I was kind of teased a little bit. Now I kind of want to see how they canonized this person into the MCU.
Yeah, it's not a major plot point. I'll say that. So
I know, but it's still a cool thing. It's still a cool thing. But so yeah, Captain Marvel's doing well, and it's going to continue to do well from the look of it. Second thing, and we'll touch more on this next week, I guess. We are 1 week away from the Fox merger with Disney from being finalized. Pretty soon, the X-Men will be home. The Fantastic Four will be home. Anything that Fox owned that was a Marvel property will now go to Disney, and we can start seeing those little seeds planted into the MCU after Endgame.
Exactly. That's definitely some good news. And like you said, it's set to close officially. According to the news, I think next Wednesday, October, March 20th. So hopefully we will have more of a kind of like maybe Disney / Marvel will announce some more Phase 4 plans after the closing of it, or maybe they won't, and maybe they'll just keep it till after Endgame. But because right now, I think all we know is that officially we got Spider-Man: Far From Home, but then that's technically Sony and Marvel Studios. So.
And then we got Black Widow.
That's true.
And we're still unsure of what the rating is actually going to be for that movie. But then after that, it seems like with both Marvel and with Star Wars, it's going to be a move more towards television. And like actually, they're going to try to, like, we know that the MCU TV shows that we've seen on Netflix and ABC, they are canon-ish. But,
yeah, right. Good way to say that.
But they really want to canonize these TV shows for Disney Plus, the Loki series, the potential Spider-Man series that's been rumored, Vision and Scarlet Witch, and now we get to our last bit of news for today. Just announced today, looks like we're getting a What If series for Disney Plus. And, I don't know if it's live action or animated.
They said animated. That's what I was saying. That's the sources I was saying that was going to be an animated series. So.
Okay, you know what? I like this. I like this because we saw with Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and Star Wars Resistance that you can bring animated stuff into a live action property, and it will still work, and it will still build off of the canon of everything. So my guess is, especially with the amount of money they're willing to put in for Disney Plus and put in for these shows, that they're going to pay the big time actors that they've brought on for these past MCU movies. I have a feeling they're going to pay them to come back for these shows and do these what if storylines. And now, did the reports say what if storylines they were going to like adapt?
Well, it didn't say exactly which ones they were going to adapt, but one big one that I saw on multiple websites was that they would think about, like, of course, canon. Like, it'll be non-canon, but it'll be based off of canon. Like, what if Loki was granted the power of Mjolnir, or it said what if Loki had Thor's hammer, something like that, or like there were some other ones like what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, which I mean kind of happens, but just kind of episodes like that could be along those lines.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the Fantastic Four, because with the Fox deal now almost complete, just 7 days away, we could potentially get that storyline. But here, I had a point, and I forgot what it was. But about canon versus non-canon. I feel like this will be canon, but they'll make it part of I feel like we're branching from a Marvel Cinematic Universe to a Marvel Cinematic Multiverse now. As I kind of predicted we were going to go that way when Infinity War introduced all those stones and the Gauntlet, and with Ant-Man and the Wasp bringing us to the microverse, the quantum realm. I meant to say, not the microverse. We're branching out into alternate universes. Other dimensions. So like it's possible that the stuff that we're introduced to in What If could be canon, but it will be new canon.
That's very true. That's very possible. Because I mean, for all we know, I don't want to say Infinity War. Endgame could be a crisis-like event for Marvel. Like, so you could just split off into different, like you said, a MC animated universe, something like that, or MC animated universe, or something like that. That'd be very interesting to see. If that's the way they go with.
And I think that's the way they would go, because like we haven't seen much from the trailers and the teasers with Endgame, but we did see a lot of set photos several months ago. So like I know that I think that they revisited New York during the Battle of the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie, and they kind of revisited that point in time. And so if they're willing to do that, at least then they're willing to go to other time periods as well. And so therefore, like they are creating a multiverse in a way.
Very true, and we know from our show that we do every Wednesday now, that when somebody messes with the multiverse, how things can just branch off and split. Blame Nora. Sorry, but
yeah, we're a little annoyed with Nora these days. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to the Flash for just 1 second. Smart people finally acted smart at the beginning of this episode. Like, can we at least be thankful that happened?
That's true. That's very true. Like, I 100% agree with you on that. It's like they start putting things together.
Yeah. Like, and even when they weren't putting the stuff together, like Barry used the chemical compound to stop Acid Master. So like they're using legit science in the show again, at least for this episode. So let's be thankful that smart people are acting smart.
Very true. Very true.
Okay, I just wanted to go on that last little tangent. I think we're good for this week in terms of Crisis on Earth Plex. I think we covered everything we need to cover. I will definitely try to see Captain Marvel within the next 7 days, and then maybe next week we can use whatever time we have left to just cover a little bit of it, or maybe we save that for 2 weeks, because when Black Lightning goes, oh wait, no, Legends will be replacing Black Lightning when it goes off the air. So.
Actually, it'll be 1 week. It'll be a 1 week grace period. No pun intended.
Oh, okay. So we'll have time then. We'll have time.
Yeah. So we can do Captain Marvel 2 weeks from now. And I mean, people are still most likely this movie is gonna bleed over into Endgame, so people will still be seeing it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did double features. Like, here, watch Captain Marvel for 2 hours, and then watch Endgame for the next 3. So, like, spend 5 hours in the seat, free bathroom breaks, free snacks, because you're in for a treat.
Hey, I would do it, and you know what? To tell you the truth, it's March 13th now. I personally don't need to see another trailer for Endgame. Like, I'm fine with waiting. I just can't. My appetite is already satiated for that movie, so. I can't wait.
Same here. Like, if they didn't do a single trailer for the movie at this point, I would be fine as well. I can't really say the same thing about Star Wars Episode 9, but I just gotta wait for Celebration to get here, because we know that's when the first trailer's coming.
Most definitely.
But with that said, this has been Crisis on Earth Plex. You can watch us again every week on Wednesday nights between 9 and 11, whenever we're available to start here on Multiplex Entertainment. Like, share, subscribe, tweet at us. Tweet at Multiplex specifically. I'll give the address in a moment. But yeah, Again, this show was probably low on the viewership, but that's simply because Facebook would not let us promote it because Facebook is acting wonky lately. But hey, catch us on the replay. Hopefully a lot of you watch us on the replay because I feel like we had a good discussion tonight.
Oh yeah, tonight was a very good discussion, and it was something for everybody. And even though there was a slow news week in terms of movies, good episode for everybody, I think.
Yeah. So with that said, Zaddeus Smith, where can the good people find you and give us some hilarious hashtags as well?
Ladies and gentlemen, when Facebook is treating you right and Instagram is treating you right, you can always find me at on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Zaddeus Smith. That's ZA2Ds Smith, or on Twitter at _ZADD at DZAD, or again on Instagram at Zaddeus ZADDEUS. Don't forget, when you're reaching out to me, you can always feel free to add a hashtag Blame Nora. That's our hashtag of the week. Actually, it's probably going to be our hashtag for the rest of the year, most likely. But also hashtag bringing people back. I was about to say something else, but that could be. I'll keep that zipped up for now. But you can also find me on the Multiplex trivia page, join trivia. My trivia TV throwdown match is soon to be uploaded to Multiplex page, so you can see me versus Jim Green for that TV throwdown title. I'm definitely hoping to win that. And as soon as it gets posted, we will let the world know. And you can also find me on the Stardust app. If you can't wait to see what I thought about Captain Marvel, you can go check me out there at RetributionZ on the Stardust app.
And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli. That's NICOSUAVEREGOLI. You can find me over on Dedicated to Art. That is the name of the YouTube channel, the Twitter, and I think Instagram also. I don't know if we have an Instagram for that, but Twitter definitely at D2A channel. Every week I am part of the Schmodown reactions that channel has with Case Cornelese and Christopher Doman. I'm also one of the co-hosts / panelists for the Who Cares Anyway podcast every Friday night at varying times between 8:30 and 11. You can and we also do a Star Wars Resistance recap show called Viva la Resistance. The final episode of Star Wars Resistance Season 1 is this Sunday, so we will have thoughts about it for sure. And then I don't know what's going to happen with the show. After that, we might go on a hiatus unless we can get some of the stars of the show to come on the show, of our show, I mean, and we can have some conversations with the voice actors, the producers, the agents, everything. Finally, and also right here on Multiplex, of course, Multiplex Entertainment is the name of the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. The Twitter is at MultiplexYT. The Instagram is Multiplex Entertainment Network. The TeePublic is just Multiplex. Buy our awesome shirts. Obviously, check us out every Wednesday between 9 and 11 whenever we start here at Crisis on Earthplex, where we talk about everything going on in the Arrowverse and outside the Arrowverse as well in terms of the world of fandom. And finally, Combat Wrestling Trivia is the name of the Facebook group. Combat Wrestling Network is the name of the YouTube channel. At Combat Wrestling without the letter G, the number 2 is where you can find us on Twitter. It's a very poorly made Twitter, but it gets you where you need to go. If you like wrestling trivia, come join us. We'll get you a match in either the heavyweight division or the middleweight division. Come show your stuff. Come show your wrestling knowledge, because I know in my gut that a wrestling trivia schmodown is coming. And so if you want to get your feet wet in preparation for whenever that eventual day comes, you now have a home to do so. So with that said, that is Zaddeus C-Man Smith. I'm Nico Suave Regoli. This has been Crisis on Earthplex. And if you ever have a crisis, come find us.